Good morning. Welcome to the Community for Conscious Living weekly live broadcast. Today is Sunday, October the 29th of 2023. The Community for Conscious Living is a community dedicated to personal transformation for universal harmony, healing the planet by making inspired changes within ourselves and within our daily lives that create a sustainable environment and a peaceful world. And we welcome all here, including the kitty cats that we hear. Today's topic is music, mood, and healing. And I recognize that it is really hard to think about singing a song of joy when it feels like our entire world is on fire. And certainly the heart of our world is on fire right now. And there's so much going on. I know I work with a lot of trauma survivors, and we're really all trauma survivors. Trauma is what separates us from ourselves, and the healing of that trauma is what brings us back home. When we sense trauma in the way, especially with the intensity of as it's going around the world right now, our reaction to trauma is, you see the emoji that goes like that. I mean, that is our reaction, to take that big inhale and tighten up the face, tighten up the jaw, tighten up the throat, and just hold it. That is our constriction around trauma. And I know the power of releasing that constriction from the throat and the voice and the jaw and all of this and the breath. And that is why I called my dear friend and former roommate of many, many, many years ago, Camela Widad. She is a professional musician and does some beautiful, incredible work that is just, she's helped me a lot in my journey to open my voice and own my voice and, just release all of this constriction. And she's given me some incredible tools. So I invited her here today to share the tools with you so that we can just, collectively breathe a sigh of release and bring healing. And just, our intention in this meditation and healing circle, we are about doing the personal work for world peace so that we can reverberate and share that around the world. So our intention today, as we release our constriction and our trauma, is to send that release and that healing. And God willing, we'll tap into some joy within ourselves and lift our own vibrations, our own spirits, and God willing, share that around the world as best we can in this moment to help to lift the vibration. So with that, I want to now introduce Camela Widad of Camela Widad Music. As I said, dear friend, former roommate who we had so much fun together. I loved so much. I'm very excited to have you. I'm going to take myself off screen and turn it over to her for this moment. Welcome, Camela.
Thank you.
Widad.
Oh my goodness. That was so nourishing. Like, even as you were talking about releasing trauma, I found myself just like breathing to grab on to those places of tension and bracing that happen so much with trauma, with stress. So thank you for that introduction. So welcome everyone. I can't see your faces, so I'm going to imagine I saw you for like a quick minute when we started Zoom, but I just want to tell you a little bit more about me. I'm a performing songwriter. I am also a vocal coach, and I've also studied healing in the Sufi tradition for 23 years. I was thinking about that this week, like, oh my gosh, it's been so long. And somehow all of these parts of my life started to kind of gel together in my own journey of working to heal the pain and the trauma that I mostly held in my throat and in my belly. And in the journey of teaching voice, I started to realize if you can combine sound, not always singing, but it can be singing, with your breath, and sometimes the aspects of movement that are called somatic experiencing, that I could grab onto things that had me holding and bracing in my throat, in my shoulders, in my neck, in my belly, and start to move all of that energy. And it wasn't always things that I was consciously aware of what they were. So I started experimenting with my shows, bringing in sing-along portions of the shows. And I started experimenting with my vocal coaching practice because I started attracting people who had been in the military and had PTSD, and children who no other vocal coach would teach them. And I started to realize that there is an aspect of our voice that can elevate our mood and bring us back to healing just through the joy of singing and movement. And sometimes it can help us grab onto the grief that we're not aware of. And often in the middle of the work that I was doing with people, there would be moments of tears, which when you're teaching voice or you're playing shows, people aren't expecting that to happen. And then creating that safe space. And that's one of the things I realized that I'm really good at. Like, I really feel a tremendous amount of love for all of you and for people. So creating that safe space where you are allowed to be vulnerable enough to release that just became something that was kind of second nature to me. So I'm going to share with you today sort of the culmination of how I've worked out that journey. So we're going to do a lot of exercises with the voice. I'm going to sing you one of my songs so that we can kind of grab onto that joy, and it's got some portions that you can sing along to, so I hope that you will, wherever you are. But if you're in a space where you can make sound, close your eyes, sing, move, that's probably going to be the best version for this. Or if you go back and listen to the recording again as many times as you want, you can also create that space where you can start working with sound. Okay, so the first thing that we do is we prepare the voice. I've always found that the voice box is a muscle structure, just like going to the gym and working out your arms or your legs or anything else. And if we warm this up and then we go into our practices of sound, chanting, and somatic experiencing, it can be less distracting if we're not working with a voice that's cold. So I was just saying to Deborah, I call her Mestra, before we started the call, that this is really interesting for me to start this at 9 a.m. So if anybody else there is feeling like, whoo, I'm going to work with my voice and it's morning, you are not alone. I am used to playing shows like until 10 p.m. at night, and then I'm driving. So getting up and working with my voice at 9 a.m. is rough. So if you hear any gravel in my voice, that's probably why. Okay, so the first thing we do is hum. To prepare the voice, you're going to just easy, gentle I always tell my students, you're in the kitchen with your parents chopping vegetables, getting them ready for dinner, and we're humming, maybe to your favorite song. You've done this before. For us, we're going to hum on 3 notes. So I've got my keyboard here. If you're on Zoom, you can see I've got my little keyboard, and you're going to sing along to these notes as best you can. Some of these will be too low for you. Some of them will be too high. That's okay. And I'm going to play 2 different octaves. So if we have any tenors or baritones on the call today, that low note is for you. You're going to hear this. And this is for altos, sopranos, if you can create this note. And then down this low for our tenors and our baritones. And then we're going to skip around. Usually when I'm teaching voice, I go up the scale on a chromatic scale, but we're just wanting to warm up the voice. So all you're going to do is this. So you can hear me humming. And I keep my mouth closed so I can start to feel the vibration coming forth. This sometimes will be enough to start creating healing. So if you need to pause and take a deep breath and just let out that tension, please do. Okay, so we're just going to start here. Hopefully you can hear me. We're going to skip some notes here. Giving you a little moment to repeat that when you hear that. We're going to skip some notes again. here's one of the things that I talk about a lot when I work with people. You basically have 4 different voices. When we first start on those low voices, you are in what's called your chest voice. Chest voice is a combination of your sound resonating in your chest, in your throat, and mostly in your mouth. When you're in chest voice, your voice box and the vocal folds are open. So the vocal folds, they kind of look like a triangle, super tiny. If you are an alto or soprano, your vocal folds are about the size of a dime. If you are a tenor or a baritone, they could be the size of a nickel or a quarter. So imagine this like voice box is that tiny and we're creating that sound. When you're in chest voice, the vocal folds have to be open. So if I go ba 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 or it's open. The higher I go in my voice, I go into head voice. So once you start to feel that place where your voice starts to go, ah, and you can all do that with me if you want, just a nice big sigh on the top end of your voice. Ah, and you can do that with a hum. Just something as simple as that can start to warm up your voice. It can start to release that tension. And when you're done working with your voice, you can use this to cool down your voice, which is really, really important. So when you go into head voice, that higher part of your voice, the vocal folds go from being open to closing and zipping up is what I call it. So kind of halfway along those vocal folds, you're zipping up your vocal cords, and that smaller space is what creates that high note. A lot of us will avoid this if we don't sing on a regular basis because zipping up the vocal cords requires sort of like a tighter coordination. So when we're humming up here, you can hear that higher end. This is deeply healing for the voice. So I always encourage people, just keep sighing if you don't have a head voice yet. And just start bringing that energy where you're zipped up, because that higher frequency is going to hit other places in your body that might need to loosen up, to release that tension, and to start releasing the bracing that can come with stress, trauma. And it can also help you be aware, where are you holding? When we work with head voice and chest voice, and then the 2 other voices I might talk about later, but they're not necessary for healing, you can start to see, oh my gosh, when I hit those high notes, I can feel most of that start to release here. When I start to hit those low notes, I can feel it in my solar plexus moving down into my belly. So when we prepare the voice, start with those humming sounds. Again, super easy, and they can be really, really breathy. Then the next thing we do is start to open up and awaken the body. So the first thing I want to do with this is talk about breath. And then the second thing I want to do is help open the throat so that when we start working with the breath, this is receiving all that breath and can help you create sound. So if everyone can go into your, put your hand on your belly, go into your belly for a second. I put my hand right on my belly button with this. Now, there's 2 types of breathing. The breathing we do with meditation, relaxation, we call it diaphragmatic breathing when we sing. And this is the kind of breath we want to use when we create sound or we're singing songs. Diaphragmatic breathing has to push the diaphragm muscle down. And the diaphragm muscle sits, if you're on Zoom, right below the rib cage. And I have that diaphragm muscle sits like a spring, and I have to push it down. And then it will spring back up as I'm pushing that breath out. The second type of breathing happens when we're doing athletics or running, or we're super stressed out. And it's the breathing that goes into the upper lungs. So if I have to go run a mile, that breath will be here. But what happens when we experience trauma or stress, our body automatically goes into that fight or flight, and it kicks that breath into the upper lungs to tell us to run or to fight, fight or flight. When we want to get past that, some of us have to relearn how to breathe into our bellies or that diaphragmatic breathing. The cool thing is we all come in breathing this way. So if you look at babies, they are usually breathing into their belly, going, ha, 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 and their bellies are doing all that work. So we kind of have to relearn that. We're going to touch on this really quick. We're not going to go deep into it, but when people are studying with me, we spend a lot of time on the breath because it ends up being the foundation underneath your vocal folds to start really releasing things. So putting your hand on your belly, just breathe in so that your belly expands your hand so that it kind of stretches a little bit like a tire. If you are really familiar with breath work, what I want you to do is breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your nose when you're doing this. So really simple, we're just going to breathe in. When I breathe out through my nose, I'm actively sending it up the back of my throat and through. Sometimes we can call this ocean breath. Now this time, I want you to breathe into your belly. Again, you're trying to get down past your rib cage. You don't want your shoulders to raise up like this. We don't want to go into that fight or flight breath. We want to breathe all the way down. I tell myself to breathe into my feet. And I still do this as a performing songwriter. When I'm on stage, I breathe into my feet. So this time you're going to breathe into your feet through your nose. We're going to hold that breath for just like maybe 2 counts, and then you're going to breathe it out your nose again. And we're going to go real slow. So let's breathe in for 5 counts, and I'm just going to snap so that you can breathe in for 5 counts with me. We're going to hold it for 2, and then just send all that breath out through your nose. Okay, so take an easy breath in and let it out to prepare. Breathing in for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 2, and breathe out. Now take an easy breath into your belly. Now with my students, we increase that breath. You're breathing in for 10 counts. You hold it for 5. You breathe out for 20. And now we're going to do it one other way that you can add into your practice at home. When you breathe out this time, you're going to hiss. So you get that nice big breath in, and you're going to hiss it out. When you're doing your breath work with a hiss, you can send frustration, anger, really strong emotions through that hiss, and it's safe. It's not going to hurt your vocal cords if you're hissing. So what you want to do on the breath in is get that breath capacity. Breathe in as much as you can, stretch out that belly, make some space, and then when you hiss out, hiss it all out. So this time, I'm going to breathe in for 5, hold for 2, hiss with a really powerful hiss. I probably won't do it as long as you, but let's do it together. So easy breath in, make some space, let it out. Breathing in for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 1, 2, and hiss. When I'm warming up my voice, I sigh as much as I can. If you find that you're starting to yawn, this is a really good sign that your body's starting to release tension. The breath alone will help you grab onto that tension. And I encourage you every time you yawn to add a sigh with it. So if you go, ah, and whatever notes you want, it starts to release tension in the larynx. Okay, so now I'm going to teach you a new exercise. This has been a really fun one to work with Mester, with Deborah on, because not everyone can do this, and she has worked really hard to learn how to do lip rolls. So this is a lip roll. So if you're listening in and you're not on the video, you're basically creating what I call horse lips. If a horse just ran a mile or around the track however many times they run around the track, they get done and they are tired and they go, their lips are shaking and rolling. This is the safest exercise that you can do for the voice. It is something that pretty much every vocal coach, from your chorus teacher to the most advanced vocal coaches, will help you learn how to do if you don't know how to do it. It creates an alignment that allows the voice to warm up. It allows the voice to strengthen. And again, it's really, really safe if you're feeling anger, frustration, really strong emotions. You can Now, normally with my students, with people studying with me, we do scales with this, but we're just going to do sirens with this. What you just heard me do. You're going to go to the highest note that you can create, which we know now is head voice. And you're going to send it through a lip roll. Now, if you're watching, you can see I've got my thumb and my forefinger, and I'm blowing a kiss, and I'm holding that position in place. So you can kind of see from the side, from the other side. This sort of dopey ooh position puts the vocal cords into a place where the sound travels by the vocal folds safely, sends the sound to your face, and that sound vibration warming up your face, warming up your chest is starting to create an opening for you, so that when we dive into the deeper exercises, you're already halfway there, releasing that tension, releasing that stress, getting closer to releasing that trauma. If it's something you need to be aware of or not, you can just send it through the sound. So we're going to go to the highest note we can with a lip roll, if you can do it. If you can't do the lip roll, you can interchange this with a tongue trill. So if you can do, this is a sound called the tilde. If you are a Spanish speaker and you say amarillo, that little trill you do with your tongue, it's right behind your front teeth. You can say pot of tea to create it. When we were kids, they told us to purr like a cat. So lip rolls and tongue trills, you can use them the same. I'm going to do some lip rolls. And so all you're going to do is this. So you could hear I just went to a really high note, and I just descended all the way down into the lowest note. And it's, like I said, it's morning. So for me, it takes a lot of breath effort. So you're going to grab onto that breath work that you were just doing, breathing into the floor or breathing into your belly. And we're going to do it again. High note, descending all the way down like water, just cascading through your body, through that lip roll or that tongue trill. So again, do either one if you can. And if this is really new for you and you can't do this, you can just do an ooh sound or an ah sound and still get the same benefits. You're just warming up the voice. So let's do this again. Deep breath into the belly, lip roll. Oh my gosh, that feels so good. I did my scales lip rolls this morning, but I didn't do the sirens. And the cool thing about this, you can do this in the shower. You can do this in the car. If you're starting to feel that tension building up in your shoulders, you can just go. And you can send it with a lot of breath. I always recommend that through every sound that you're creating, because that can grab on and start to release all that stuff we're talking about today. You can do it fast. You can do it slow. You can do it as many times as you want, and I hope you all are doing it as many times as you want in your space. And as you do this a couple more times, so we started with humming, we did some breath work, we got some lip rolls, you might be already starting to feel that there's a lot of space opening up in your body. There's a lot of movement opening up in your body. So now what I want to do is, let's bring a little more juice to this. So the ha sound. When I'm working with energizing my body, waking it up, I do this ha, 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 ha. Now I'm in chest voice, so I'm really working with my belly, and I'm kind of pumping the breath in my belly to do this. So what I want everybody to do in this, it doesn't matter what note you're on, you can do this ha, 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 ha. If you have a really great soprano top end to your voice, go ahead and use that high end. If you are a chest voice singer, you can use the lowest note that you want. You can join in with me with the ha, ha, ha. You can do harmonies with it. There's so much potential with it. But what I want you to do is check into your heart. So for me, I've got my hands on my heart. I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to take a deep breath. And I'm just going to check in. And I'm going to feel, where's my body holding tension? And if you've done a lot of healing work, you might be already feeling that tension just from the breath work and the sound that we've done. And as you feel the tension in your body, you might already be like traveling in there and figuring out, oh, this is what's going on with me. I'm really upset about this, or oh, I'm really sad about this. Sometimes we check in and we're just feeling pure joy. And I want you to roll with that. If you're feeling pure joy, the ha, ha, ha can just increase that. For me, if I'm feeling really strong, I just use the ha, ha, ha. Now, if you're working with your voice and that's creating some gravel, just do it with a lip roll. Go, because it's a lot safer than going, that kind of sound. We don't want to hurt the vocal cords. If that gravel is there, use more breath. Make this breathy. So we're just going to do this 5 times. I'm going to go really slow. And again, really changing the structure of what we're feeling requires us to tap in and feel, access that sound, and send that feeling with the sound. So we're doing ha, 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 ha. Now for me, as I start this, I can feel I have to go slow and I need to use a lot of breath. So I'm listening to my body. Always listen to your body. Now I can feel I can speed this up a little bit. Ha, 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 ha. Now I can also feel I want to play with sound. When you're working with the low end of your voice, like we said earlier, you're going to hit areas of your body that are different than the high end. So let's play with sound. Let's go up. Let's create some higher notes. Ha, 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 ha. Now I'm realizing that intuitively, I'm tapping my heels. So if you're watching the video, you can feel or see that I'm tapping my heels with the sound. This is the element of somatic experiencing that I have always added into sound. I want to grab on to any of the frustration that I'm feeling, and I want it to shake out of my body. So if you're in a space where you can stand, or maybe you're sitting, you can just ha, ha, with your tummy, create that same movement. If that healing is rising up, you can shimmy your shoulders, you can shake while you're doing this. Ha, 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 ha. So let's do this together. I'm going to tap my heels. If you want to shake your shoulders, if you want to really grab on and compress your belly, like you're a bellows squeezing out that tension, do it. Follow whatever it is. Now, I want to be on a higher note. If you want to play with these higher notes, go for it. Ha, 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 ha. I'm going to go even higher, so join me if you want. Ha, 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 ha. Now I can feel, I want to sigh. I want to grab onto that breath and just, and now I can feel I want to shake it out. I can feel there's a yawn in there, so join me. And now as I'm doing all of this, I can feel there's tension and I can feel it in my throat. So now here's where we add some healing into this. I want you to close your eyes, put your hand on your heart, listen to your body. As we've been doing these exercises, the opening is starting to show you what needs your attention. Where is it at? What are you feeling? Is it an emotion? Is it something you need to listen to? Let your body show you. And so for me, when I listen in, I can feel that my body just wants to do some head voice with the ooh sound. So this is basically, I'm going to give you some notes here. And if you give it that big breath and you just hold that note. You can hold it as long as you want. It's like this wave that washes over my sadness, and it helps me get back in touch with my joy. For some of you, that note's going to be super easy. For some of you, it's going to wobble and it's going to pop and it's going to shake, and maybe there's going to be a little whistle in there. That's okay. Just keep using the breath to create that movement and shake out the tension wherever it is in your body. So let's create another head voice note. If you're a tenor or a bass, you can be down here. So here, again, that ooh sound, just like a hooty owl. So for me as a vocal coach, I'm sending that breath up the back of my neck. So you can see I'm using my hands to help me. If any of that opens up for you, follow it. If you want to open up your arms and just and move your arms around, follow that flow. Your body knows how to heal. Your body is equipped with this intelligence. When you're using this sound, follow your intuition. So now let's go back up to that note. This is high C for those of you that work with your voice already. This high C or middle C, if that's where your head voice will start, if that's where your voice is. These are pretty universal notes that almost everybody can use. This middle C and this high C. And they have a frequency that can help bring us back to the truth of who we are. So let's play with this. If you have vibrato, you can hear how my voice wiggles at the end. If you can access that, go for it. It is so relaxing. If you're still working through like, that's okay. Take another breath and keep going with it. So let's go up a little bit higher. If these notes start to get a little too high, you can harmonize with them. You can hit any of these notes. Again, I can feel my body wants to release, so I'm going to take a deep breath. That lip roll is really safe. It can help you grab on. It shakes. I'm going to wiggle while I do that lip roll. And I can feel I want to shake. So if you're in a space where you can, let's do this with some ha. We're going to go. As you do these sounds, listen to your body. One of those frequencies is helping you tap into something. It might be the high end. For me, it's the low end. Like as I go through this, right there. That's where my body wants to hang out right now. And I can feel like there is grief. With everything that's going on with the world, my body right now is feeling a tremendous amount of grief. And I'm thinking, oh, I shouldn't, I'm not going through this. Why am I feeling grief? And then I go, oh, I'm not going to judge that. I need to release this grief. Maybe it's my grief. Maybe it's my ancestors. Maybe it's my family. Maybe it's the world. But trust that. You might be releasing something on the high end. And you need to do that. If you feel like you're doing these sounds and it hurts your voice, go into a lip roll or a tongue trill and do it. Okay. Now we've done a lot of sound. Check into your body. What are you feeling? For me, I'm starting to feel this flow coming back. I'm really wanting to take a lot of deep breaths and just release that energy. Now, when I work with people with any kind of trauma, we work with all of those frequencies. We work with the low end on chest voice. We work with the high end because it could be different day to day. So we do these lip rolls, all frequencies. We do the ha, all frequencies. And you can play with any kind of sound. So we did ooh, we did ha, we did ah, we did lip rolls. Listen to your body because all of them have different uses. We also did a hiss when we did with our breath work. We went sss. Now we can turn that hiss into an S or a shh sound. When I've gone through all of these sounds, grabbed onto stuff, that opening has started to create in my body space, the sound starts to bring me back to peace, healing, and gentleness. So you can complete any kind of sound work with a it could sound like an ocean wave. For me, I just want to do it with breath. I don't really want to do it with sound, but some days I'm going to want to go and it's starting to release some mucus in my body. I always recommend people have a bottle of water or water handy, because this is going to kick up some dust. Every vocal coaching session I do with people, we're always like, this time of year when we're getting colds and we're getting congestion, it's going to kick this stuff up. Drink that water and just keep singing through it. Okay, so now coming into joy, I'm going to play a song for you. We're all kind of warmed up. I know I just threw so much at you. So with this song, sing along. If you want to keep doing some of these exercises while I'm preparing the guitar, go for it. So as I was explaining to a lot of you at the very beginning, I've learned over the years from teaching voice that one of the best ways to heal is through the expression of joy. So once you've prepared your body to sing, now you're going to get into this place where you got to do something with it, right? You can go into deep meditation with this, and you can hum or say out loud what we call the remembrance. In my healing tradition, we use the remembrance with a sound that is an ah and a la. And it's the name of God in Sufism. But you can use Allah, which is Aramaic for God, the word that Jesus used. You could do Elohim, you could do Yahweh, you could do Om. But once I get done warming up my voice and I go into deep meditation, I will use whatever those frequencies were that opened up for me. And I'll just repeat. Allah, Allah, Allah. And from there, I can feel, I want to use some higher frequencies. Allah, Allah. And you can hold those notes if you're going into meditation. You can do Allah. There's all kinds of ways to take this deeper and really ask yourself, what do I need to learn today? What do I need to listen to? What was the lesson I needed from this stress, from this trauma, from this pain? And the beautiful thing about sound is that it can help you to grab onto the things that maybe you're not ready to see yet. Maybe there's trauma holding in your body that you don't ever need to look at, but you feel it as tension, or you feel it as a bracing that's just stuck in your body. You can use these sounds and start to listen. Do I want to use my chest voice? Do I want to use my head voice? Do I want to work with those low frequencies? Do I need to be gentle today? So for me, I will either go into that meditation, and for me, I use Allah with that, or I go and sing. So today, I'm going to sing a song for you, and when you hit the chorus on this song, you can sing along. It basically goes ba 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 da da. All right, this is called Beautiful You, and this song is here for you to realize that we are imperfect, and that is perfect. No matter what you're going through, no matter where you are in your process, you are absolutely perfect. Like constellations that connect the stars that made us. They took us down rock bottom, baby, never, never, never gonna shake us. Find your song, it always brings you back. Proof of a winding path, but you're always on track. No more apologies. Perfectly imperfect, just be beautiful you. just be beautiful you, beautiful me. Ba ba da da da. Can you feel your heart beating, baby? You're on fire. Love him or leave him, the tide is still gonna rise. Find your song, it always brings you back. Prove of this winding path, but you're always on track. Oh, no more apologies. Perfectly imperfect, just be beautiful you, beautiful me. Ba ba da da da. Just be beautiful you, beautiful me. Ba ba da da da. Leave the bad vibes outside. Leave the bad vibes. Hit the ground running, baby. Leave the bad vibes outside. And drive off into your sunrise. Find your song, it always brings you back. Proof of a winding path, but you're always on track. There's no more apologies. Perfectly imperfect, just be beautiful you, beautiful me. Ba ba da da da. Just be beautiful you, beautiful me. Ba ba da da da. Just be beautiful you, beautiful me. Ba ba da da da. Just be beautiful you, beautiful me. Ba ba da da da. Just be. All right, gorgeous, gorgeous people. I am so stoked that you joined me today. We're going to have a moment where we do question and answer, and I know that part is not recorded, so if you don't want your questions on recording, but we're going to take a little moment for that. Now, before I end, what I want to do is just give you like a quick reminder. Once you work with your voice, you want to go back to some of those basic exercises like humming and lip rolls and cool down those muscles. The voice box is a structure of muscles, just like going to the gym and you do a big workout. You want to warm it up, do your work, and then cool it down. So think of looking at the most beautiful sunset and sigh with it with your mouth closed. Do the same thing with a lip roll or a tongue trill. And the key is really breathy. And then your voice ends up being stronger once you're done cooling down, so that you're ready to continue working the next day and you don't lose your voice. If you get done and you feel a little raw, drink some water, warm tea, not hot, with ginger. So fresh ginger, best remedy for the voice. Grate that ginger into some water, make that tea. You can add honey if you want. Really, really good remedy. So once you're done working with the voice, you're kind of telling the body, okay, this session is done. And make sure you warm up before you work into any of these sounds that will help you release anything that you're holding on to. And yeah, I'm sure I've forgotten tons of things, but you can find my vocal coaching work at creativesoulstudios.net. And you can find my music at camelawidad.com. And both of those places have contact forms, so you can reach out to me if you have extra questions, or if you want to work and you want to really focus in on a personal way with sound therapy for yourself. But yeah, I think that's it. So we're going to bring Mastura Deborah back and create some space for you all to ask any questions that you'd like.
Thank you so much for that, Camela Widad. That was absolutely
Yes.
beautiful, incredible. I felt so much release, more than I realized was being held in such a tight way. So I really appreciate that. I thank you so much.
That is
Um,
great to hear. That's so great to hear. Because usually when I do these sessions, I'm checking in with people. So I rolled with it. It was really fast. We covered a lot. So I hope all of you experienced something positive.
yeah, well, I just want to say for people that were rolling along with this, two things. I'm sure that whatever, if you weren't able to keep up with everything, whatever you caught was perfect for you, and you've always got the recording to come back. You've got a whole tool bag full of tools that you can work with now. And I certainly learned, even though I've worked with you a lot over the years, I learned a lot from this session about just, where trauma's held and how to use the voice and the different, chest voice, head voice to release various constrictions in the body. So I really appreciate that. And
Mm.
before I do the wrap up and stop the recording, can you one more time tell people what your websites are in case they want to reach you?
Yes, absolutely. I could probably put it into the chat as well.
But
So,
say it first because
yep,
we've got multiple things going on, and I'll share it in the notes for the podcast and for the YouTube and for the blog. So it'll be
absolutely.
there too.
So my vocal coaching website is Creative Soul Studios, plural, .net. And there are contact forms there. So if you want to get in touch with me, you can use that. I'm going to put it in the chat here for anybody that is on Zoom.
Okay, so that was Creative Soul Studios.
Studios.net.
.net,
Mm-hmm.
.net, creativesoulstudios.net, and then for your
My
music,
music website is
it's,
Camela Widad. That is, Camela is spelled exactly like Pamela with a C. So it's Camela. And my spiritual name, Widad, Widad. So
which is all
CamelaWidad.com.
about love.
That's right. And you can listen to music there. So Beautiful You is there, that song I just played. Um, and also a contact form if you get to one of those or the other site, you can reach out to me if you need any support.
Okay, awesome. So, all right, let me just say for those of you who are watching on Facebook, there's a link there underneath at the bottom of the description. If you want to join us for Q&A, click that link and come on over. You'll go to a web page and it has all the different ways where you can join by phone or by Zoom. I haven't done this by Zoom where other people are on the Zoom with us before, so we're going to navigate this Q&A as best we can today. But
Sure.
let me just say, if you're listening to the recording or watching, please join us live on Sundays at 10 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time, 7 a.m. U.S. Pacific Time. Join us live for our weekly meditation and healing circle. It is a group meditation. It is a personal healing and, God willing, a healing for our planet. You can join us, find information for joining us live at communityforconsciousliving.com, communityforconsciousliving.com. When you're there, you can sign up to receive the reminders and replays. When you sign up, you receive 2 free gifts. One of them is just a one sheet, not just a one sheet, but a powerful one sheet. That is a reminder of the truth of who we are, why we're here, what this life journey is about. You can put multiple copies on your computer backdrop, your phone, your wallet, your purse, your mirror, your steering wheel, just to remind you as you're going through life the truth of what this life is about so we don't get too caught up in the illusions of it. It also has a 15-minute downloadable guided meditation that I hope you will download and make a part of your daily practice to help you to connect with the divine light, the pure divine light, the unconditional love, and the eternal compassion that is the core of your being and who you are. So please take advantage of those and join us live on Sundays. Thank you very much for being with us today, and we are going to end recording now and open for Q&A.